What Animal has done for Ranbir sir, I think Baby John with God's blessing will do to Varun Dhawan sir.
I was actually rooting for this film. I don't know why. Maybe because the visuals did look promising, maybe because I saw Varun absolutely surrender and invest in this mad world of Atlee, and maybe hoping for a bunch of surprises, as the makers clearly mentioned prior to the release that this is not a scene to scene remake of Theri, but an adaptation of it. This is the problem you have when you step into the theatre as an optimist, because you have all of these hopeful ideas of the direction the film will go into, but it barely lands anywhere. And this was my experience as I sat in the theatre for the Kalees directed film Baby John, starring Varun Dhawan, Keerthy Suresh, Wamiqa Gabbi, and Jackie Shroff. The film, if you have not seen Theri, focuses on John, played by Varun, who manages a bakery and stays with his only daughter and dog. When a small altercation leads to a police complaint, the film ties into the question of who really is John, and more importantly, what was the life that this man led as DCP Satya Verma. Is the police officer played by Varun Dhawan someone else, or it ties into his past that he wants to keep hidden? What is the point of conflict that leads to an animosity and hatred for Jackie Shroff? What is the role of Meera, played by Keerthy Suresh, beyond being a romantic interest? And who is Tara, played by Wamiqa Gabbi, his daughter's teacher in school? And what kind of a police officer is Satya Verma? Truly, as he uncovers a huge nexus of human trafficking. This is the basic storyline of Baby John. I've tried to keep it as vague as possible because I know many of you have not seen Theri, so if you are going to be watching Baby John, literally me even describing the characters would be a dead giveaway of what happens in the plot. Does the film actually become the mass entertainer action film that Varun always wanted, almost catapulting him into stardom? Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Baby John in theaters or not. The good. Taman's background music. Ever since the announcement video of Baby John has dropped, I have been absolutely obsessed with the background score of its movie title composed by Taman. There is a sequence in the film which was iconic in the original as well, where there is this big reveal about Varun's true identity. But Taman's background score for this film, followed by the action choreography executed by Varun, just took it to another level. I know Varun likes to integrate his own style and influence in the action, something that we saw glimpses of in Citadel, but I must tell you that when I saw him German suplex a goon as Taman's background score lit up the screen, I genuinely hooted and cheered. There is also this absolutely fire sequence with Rajpal Yadav, and he gets a mass action set piece, and Taman just adds this much needed punch to the sequence. Rajpal Yadav plays a loyal friend and cop to Varun, and it is fitting that a goon tells him, "Hey, comedy, hut," and Rajpal Yadav replies back almost as an insult to the years of being typecast as this comedy side character, giving the much needed respect and elevation an artist like that truly deserves. While I was not truly a fan of the music of the film, something that I will come to later, I must commend Varun giving it all in the track Bandobast. I still haven't quite figured out the footwork, but if I were to be totally honest, Keerthy Suresh absolutely overshadows him in Nen Matakka. There is an ease and natural sexiness that she exudes that makes her just the perfect fit in the mass commercial movie template. Moving away from the dancing, as I always digress with that topic, only Rajakumari single is fitting in this film with its theme and pitch. Varun and Jackie giving it all. This is one of the reasons why I am slightly sad rather than angry about the final product of this film, because I see the sheer effort on screen made by the two principal characters especially. What Kalees does well in this adaptation is actually establish a worthy opponent, making the point of conflict between the two characters more palpable than the original film. And what's even better is that Varun's quest to nab the perpetrators of a crime is far more clear in the Hindi film. This is in regards to the portrayal of Jackie Shroff's son in this film that allows for more of the hatred to organically build, versus this feature being slightly all over the place in my opinion in the original Tamil film. Varun really makes the effort in this film, man, but it's flashes of brilliance and moments where I felt like Varun still gives off the vibe of a boy than a man that I can be intimidated by. Don't get me wrong, he is giving everything physically to the role, but I see the effort. if you know what I mean, versus a father willing to burn the world to protect his daughter. What's quite interesting is that in the portions where Varun is courting Keerthy, slightly being cheeky with her, is pulling his mom's leg, doing the charming boy next door stuff, it's way more natural to his being versus what this film demands, which is everything under the umbrella, which very few can pull off. While Varun is sincere, especially in the dramatic and emotional scenes, it is in the swagger and style of a mass hero where his lack of charisma became very clear for everyone to see. Jackie Shroff is very convincing in his demonic portrayal and obsession for Varun's downfall in this film, but I feel he deserves a better climax portion that seemed to be quite half-baked compared to the high the film gave you till the interval. The underwhelming aspects. Consistent breaks in music. Hindi cinema has evolved to a point, at least I would love to believe that, where the audience appreciates when the music in the film is an organic aspect of the screenplay. One really does get annoyed when the film is slowly building into getting us more invested in this dramatic storyline and then it shifts to a random stage and set where the romantic leads are shaking a leg. This is what consistently annoyed us this year about GOAT, where even fans would roll their eyes on these random abrupt cuts to song and dance. As I previously said, Varun and Keerthy do a fine job in actually keeping us entertained with their choreography, but for a screenplay that, in classic atlee fashion, is already stuffed, even the overload of music gets a tad bit taxing. I can still forgive Nain Matakka as it actually is representative of the fun banter between the characters, but it definitely got tiring after a point, and I would not consider the music album to be a knockout either. So it almost had just a flat overall impact, embarrassing product placement, and glimpses of hope that changed nothing. There are some portions of the film that seem like straight adverts that have been designed so that portions of the film can run on cable later on. There is an entire action sequence dedicated to, I think, astral pipes or something, and Varun using them as nunchucks to eliminate the bad guys. The first meeting of Varun and Keerthy is literally him holding a fruity Tetra pack in slow motion, just so you know what he loves to have in his spare time. There are some interesting creative choices that the makers try to execute, especially with Wamiqa's character, but these additions or changes don't really add anything special to the film. Wamiqa is one of the most talented new actors in the industry, in my opinion, and I love to see her getting all the hype, but the character in this film pales in comparison to the nuanced and effective role she has aced in her career. This was like a cakewalk for her, and barely leaves any impact, despite the changes. There is also a subplot of a black dog, hear me out. A black dog helping out Varun with narrowing down the case, actually cracking it also. Which, if it is an ode to Jackie Shroff's own Theri that released in 1985, then I think Baby John has gone more meta than they themselves knew. What does not translate well? I'll tell you the biggest problem with Baby John and why it doesn't land that massy entertainer we wish it was. We all know about Atlee's screenplay that is bound to have several subplots, and each subplot will have a moral or social message attached to it. Like Jawan, SRK is solving India's issues one step at a time. But the film mostly deals with a linear structure. The issue in this film is that it not only does follow the social message trope, but also provides a non-linear narrative that shifts timelines in the past and in the present, making you confused of when the particular event is actually taking place. The context of when something is happening can actually only be gauged by Varun's hairstyle. The film has a rushed episodic-like structure where a high emotion is met, and before you can even feel it, weep with the characters, develop some empathy within yourself, they move on to the next subplot. Or even more frustrating is the style that is just alien to Hindi cinema, and that is the synergy of emotion with swagger. In this pursuit to ape the style of the South, we are forgetting that there are some things that are just not in our natural state. And by our, I mean Hindi cinema. The basic style of a Vijay chewing gum or Rajnikant wearing his shades coupled with being serious in a scene is a very cultural, known, consistent aspect of commercial Tamil and Telugu cinema. The angry young man who ruled commercial Hindi cinema with the marriage of Salim Javed and Amitabh Bachchan became the gold standard due to the writing and natural swagger of the rebel or disruptor. So for Hindi cinema and the audience, the walk of Hrithik Roshan in War is enough. The cheeky one-liner of Shah Rukh Khan in Pathan is enough. The theatrics were reserved to the character, either sporting a cigarette, say like in Dawn, or delivering a killer punchline. The over-the-top nature of wearing shades in a particular style or chewing gum, killing just seemed uncomfortable when executed by Varun. It just did not seem natural for him to do, which makes me again believe that we should stop trying to ape something that is not naturally you. Because Hindi cinema did have its identity, and the mere imitation of even their style, it's getting slightly embarrassing. The much hyped cameo. I could not help but be even more terribly frustrated at the cameo in this film. It is nothing but an afterthought. Has no impact on the storyline of Baby John, seems more like a favor done for Atlee as they are doing a project together later on. This is all presumption. And it literally felt like they were taking the mick out of us as both Salman and Varun break the fourth wall. It's of course not as bad as Singham again, but it isn't impressive either. I'm all for friendship and doing things in good spirit, but these kind of cameos across movies have ruined the hype surrounding a Salman surprise appearance. He's a star, man. Nothing has stopped his cameo in Pathaan that literally made theatres into stadiums, and now there isn't even a sound of crickets. This is causing more harm than good, because this isn't the acting legacy and filmography you want to leave behind. I know it isn't that serious, but I think about the fans who really root for Salman Khan's big bang return to the big screen. This just was not it. I root for Varun too and his sincerity, but I can't back this film fully. Coming to the first question, is Baby John going to do what Animal did for Ranbir? Far from it. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Baby John. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.